Right, hello. So, Conundrum's left a bunch of comments on a couple of my most recent videos. Um, First one is the Short Thoughts in the Eye of the Hurricane video. Um, so I've responded to one already, like written response. So I'll read Conundrum's comment, read my response, and then the rest I'll go through like just off the cuff. I haven't read them yet. So Conundrum says, it's just too easy to say that Efilism is the road to hell paved with good intentions. Intentions to reduce/prevent suffering. But what the road leads to is the total disgrace of antinatalism, which is being associated with Efilism and which will take the fall for anything Efilists say or do. All waste of time dreaming about doomsday machines instead of doing anything real to alleviate suffering. So my response was, indeed, it's extremely easy to say that, but unfortunately for you, saying it does not make it true. You can't prove it with anything substantial though, can you? All you can do is say it, over and over and over again, as if it will suddenly become true. Instead of doing anything real to alleviate suffering. This isn't like part of Conundrum's comment, which I'm just separating to respond to. So I've said another arrogant claim of more nonsense you can't prove, as if you have access to the lives of others. What's your solution? Sorry, what's your superior solution? Paradise. How about rising to the challenge at the end of this video? I don't think you can prove that either. And yeah, wasting time dreaming about doomsday machines. Again, prove it. You have no idea what I do with my time. I don't think you can back up a single thing you just said with anything substantial. It's all conjecture and speculation based on your own feelings. So, yeah, just a couple of things before I move on to the next comment. But what the road leads to, so Conundrum says, the the road leads to the total disgrace of antinatalism, which is being associated with Efilism and will take the fall for anything Efilists say or do. See, this is just your opinion, right? It's not the objective truth or anything, it's just your opinion. Yeah, like, there's not much else to say on that, is there? It's just your opinion. I mean, there's like plenty of antinatalists I've seen who, as far as I'm concerned, in my opinion, right, are disgracing antinatalism. Right? See, I can just say this. I can just say, oh, like, well, you're disgracing antinatalism, and then you've got to spend time like, right, whatever, yeah. So I'll skip the brackets and read this bit. But what the road leads to is this total disgrace of antinatalism, or a waste of time dreaming about doomsday machines instead of doing anything real to alleviate suffering. Right, so of course I can only speak for myself here, but I'm not that dissimilar to most other people, right? So yeah, wasting time dreaming about doomsday machines. Like, I don't really spend any time thinking about doomsday machines or red buttons or anything like that, right? For the most part, I'm just living my life, working, thinking, and doing practical things in real life, like instead of doing anything real to alleviate suffering. So you're just making these two, like, really, actually quite aggressive statements here, right? Like, instead of doing anything real to alleviate suffering, and you know, You just completely, like, you just being dishonest. You're just completely mischaracterizing and, you know, just describing things to a whole group of people. And like, and then again, like a last interaction with you, right? You're describing things to like a whole group of people, trying to dismiss arguments off the cuff using like dishonest or exaggerated statements, and then and then like when it doesn't work, you backtrack, right? As we'll see in this next comment. So, Conundrum responds, that's the point. I cannot demonstrate that there is any better way, just as you cannot demonstrate that ethylism is better than any other options. Neither of us have any proof. Well, no, they're not the same. You can't. It's like, what would you call that? A false dichotomy, right? Because you can't compare the two things, right? You seem to have missed the point of me putting this quote on the excuse me, on the image for my video, right? Never does nature say one thing and wisdom another. The purpose of me saying that, this is where the two things differ, right? Because the ethylist solution, right, is basically just you know, it's just all it has to be is a slight readjustment of what nature is already doing, right? You minimize the amount of victims, and then you direct all that inertia that nature already has, all that destructive inertia that nature already has, you know, and you work with this unstoppable force of entropy, right? You work with it. And then you want to compare that, you want to try and put that on the same plane as like working completely against nature. This is what I mean. It's like, it's not comparable. The proof, like the proof of, you know, like the ethylist solution is everywhere. I've already touched on this in the dichotomy of destructive ideas video. So he goes on. So when you say there are many fates worse than death, and I challenge any anti-ethylist to demonstrate that the road to paradise is anything other than a detour paved with good intentions, but ultimately still the road to any one of these hellish fates, you essentially demand a proof while not giving a proof that your option is viable. See, now that you're just projecting, right? Because all the way through, it's anti-ethilists who have been asking questions and demanding proof and demanding proof and demanding proof, and obliging people to answer questions and complaining that videos haven't got enough responses and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, it's you people who are demanding proof. I'm responding, right? Having the conversation. You're the ones who aren't giving proof, yet you're demanding it. So, another arrogant claim of more nonsense you can't prove, as if you have access to the lives of others. These are obviously things I've said. Again, you can be a vegan, an anti-natalist, you may volunteer in charities, etc. This is all great. This is not ethylism. Why does it have to be? Why does it have to be? Like I've just said, like, ethilists are just going through the motions like everyone else, with a slight twist, with a slight difference. Why does it have to be ethylism? And you're the one making these dishonest claims. Like, what's your superior solution? Paradise. I don't have any. Exactly, you don't have any. So you don't have any solutions. So, like, and you just want to spend your time attacking the people who do have a solution that they believe in, and could be viable. But we don't know how quickly things can change, how quickly collective psychology of people can change. We don't know that. How about rising to the challenge at the end of this video? So Conundrum says, I'm too realistic / pessimistic to believe there is a viable solution. Right. So this is like the one of Andrew McIntosh's videos I watched recently. Yeah. Struggled to watch it because he's using this some kind of like automated robotic voice, which is just like, why would you want to listen to that? But yeah, essentially it's just nihilism, right? It's just an appeal to futility. Oh, we can't do anything. Too realistic, pessimistic to believe there is a viable solution. No. Or you're giving up, or you're just giving up. Right? And because you're giving up, you don't want anyone else to continue the fucking race. Again, prove it. You have no idea what I do with my time. Yeah, I only comment on what people say and write. If there is anything substantial to ethylism apart from dreaming about doomsday machines to nuke the planet, let me know. Right, so you only comment on what people say and write. So why are you making comments about things you have no idea about? Like what people do with their lives. You don't have any idea about that, so why comment about it? So you're not even like, yeah, I only comment on what people say and write, but you obviously don't, because you're commenting on their whole life. If there is anything substantial to ethylism apart from dreaming about doomsday machines to nuke the planet, let me know. Yeah, whatever. This really isn't even worth the time, is it? Alright, let's go to another video. Some other comments while there. Hopefully they're, well, after that, like, they're going to be just as dumb, but hell, could be interesting. So, Conundrum says, this is on the other video I made, titled More Thoughts in Response to Anti-Ethylism. So Conundrum says, to be fair, he's gone through and time-stamped all the points throughout the video, which he is addressing, which makes it, which is why I will do this. Actually, I will go through. I'm not sure if I'll get it all done today, but anyway. So Conundrum says, you may want to make yourself a fresh cup of tea for this one. Actually, I had to split the comment into smaller ones as YouTube won't allow me to paste the whole 4 pages long essay as a comment. So at 2:46, I asked why engage in all this hyperbole. Conundrum says, I used the hyperbole to give weight to how ludicrous Amanda's response is. Write your opinion, cool. Amanda was actually saying that your stance was ludicrous, so where do we go with that? There's no point in me talking about that. Almost since the dawn of YouTube, there have been many groups of people arguing with each other. Yeah, of course. Christians versus atheists, skeptics versus SJWs, various political groups, vegans versus carnists, and so on. And even when someone makes a point that is weak or poor, it usually is being addressed. Why address lousy claims the Earth is flat? because it's stupid, because you can show the errors, because you can show how to properly interpret research and methods. Well, no, not really, right? Most of the people who watch like debunking of flat earth videos do it for entertainment, right? It's just a distraction. Because it's stupid, because you can show the errors, because you can show how to properly interpret research and methods, because you want others to come across critiques of such claims. Right. So, what are you saying? That instead of doing productive things that I do with my life, I should be responding to things that, in my opinion, or even this. So it would be a better use of my time to make responses to flat earthers. Is that what you're saying? I mean, some of the arguments that are being made against defilism are definitely on a level with some of the stuff the flat earthers believe and say. In the marketplace of ideas, or rather in the battleground of ideas, that's the reality. If something goes unaddressed, it means the other side has no response. Just imagine if... Well, no, it doesn't. Not at all, does it? Like having all these responses, having all these responses being made. How many people have responded to you in comments? And what, you just carrying on hammering away with the same arguments, the same details. Just imagine if those groups were locked in their own clubs and didn't respond to the other side because they thought the points of the other side were piss poor, ridiculous. Right. Despite the fact, your points have been responded to. What if people think they're ridiculous? Right? You're just going to keep on responding to ridiculous things over and over and over and over and over again? What point do you stop? Like I said, I already said this in this video. But you might have been only at the 2-minute 46 mark when you wrote that. 3 minutes. I'm glad you don't think of yourself like that. I commented on the attitude of not addressing the critiques and instead brushing them off as being of poor quality. Nothing more. Okay, but I explained that, right? It's the same thing. 335. You're free to respond to whatever you like. It's just so weird to say that something is lacking merit, and that's why you're not responding. The people who made critiques of defilism also think that it lacks merit, yet they've engaged with it. Why? To understand. To say why they disagree. Yes, and we know why you disagree, right? It's basically because responding isn't going to achieve anything, right? And like I said, you already started this whole thing here with dishonesty. And then try and make out like it was something else. The main and this is the beginning of it. You're not even using just fair arguments to begin with. Why? To understand, to say why they disagree. Yeah, like I said, we've heard it all. 343. Even if the arguments aren't strong enough to change your mind, it doesn't mean they aren't worth responding to. Well, look, if you're complaining here, you're complaining that ethelists don't do anything, don't actually alleviate suffering. What would you prefer I do? Respond to something that I think is stupid and has been responded to by other people in countless comments and by people making videos, right? Or should I go and alleviate some suffering? Man, I could refer to various YouTube groups responding to each other over and over again. Obviously all these groups don't agree with the other side. That's the main reason why they make response videos. 4 minutes. What are some standard arguments? What are some standards arguments have to meet to be compelling or worth responding to? This is the thing, I don't know how you don't already understand this. There's no real reason behind the critiques, and like I said later on in this video, it's not, well, it is obviously it's some reflection on the people making critiques of Effortism, but it's like the actual facts of life won't allow the arguments against Effortism to be compelling or worth responding to. And anyway, if response videos have been made, and the video I make would basically be, with my own spin on it, but essentially, like the same. What's the point of me doing something that's already been done? Why? The arguments against Effortism haven't changed. So, what would be the purpose of that? Other than appeasing you, other than what? Giving you what you want. 11:50. I agree with you wanting to start the conversation. Right, so why have I seen other comments of yours saying that all Effortists want to do is start the conversation, and you're saying in a pejorative manner, as a criticism, and now you're saying you agree? Unfortunately, I think you missed the point of what I tried to convey. When I wrote, "This shows how much Effortists want to start the conversation," more clearly than anything else anyone said, I meant that the total silence of Effortists, with the already mentioned exception of Emendum, with regard to critiques of Effortism, is a demonstration of the fact that Effortists do not want to start any conversations. No, it's not at all. It's a demonstration. It may be a demonstration of the fact that we're not interested in the conversations with you. But I guess that didn't cross your mind, no? Because you're clearly not going to, you're not interested in a conversation, as evidenced once again by the kind of arguments, the kind of appeals to futility, and the appeals to drawing a Hitler moustache on a picture of someone, yeah? Name calling, accusing people of being just bitter and angry and resentful morons, right? You remove those people, you remove that style of argument, yeah? And then maybe people would have more time to respond. That's my reasoning, right? Why would I bother? You've already offered me an apology for misrepresenting one of my arguments, right? And then what? And I rejected your apology, and somehow you expected, because I rejected your first apology, that I was somehow angling for another one, trying to fish another one out of you. But I guess, yeah, I guess you can't get that through your head, can you? I'm having conversations with people in my life about this. I'm starting the conversation, just not with people who are belligerently, stubborn, or have their point of view, and it's not going to change. A conversation is at least a two-way stream. Yes, I think everyone understands that. When only one side, Effortists, is doing all the talking and doesn't respond to the critiques of the other side, who you call anti-ethalists. What else? Okay, what would you call it then? Right? There is no conversation. Refusal to respond is antithetical to starting the conversation. No, it's antithetical to starting. No, it's not antithetical to anything. Right? If conversations aren't being had with you, right, then maybe that's because the people you're wanting to have a conversation with you don't see any value in having a conversation with you. There are almost 8 billion other people they can have a conversation with. 1233. When do you stop responding to criticisms? When you no longer care. When you no longer... Well, I would say that that's what, like, essentially, it seems to me that, like, that's much more your position, right? You're the one appealing to futility. You're the one saying you're too pessimistic or realistic to believe in any viable solutions. And yet, the amount of time you spend writing comments about stuff like, that's just speculation, though. Just when you no longer care, when you no longer want to show the strength of your arguments. No, I'll show the strength of my arguments to people who are receptive to it. Like I said, in 2 of my other videos, right, I made arguments, and you didn't even address them. The last 6.5 paragraphs, you just ignored. You didn't respond to them at all, right? Why would I spend my time dealing with someone like that? You know, who's just going to ignore that and then write, 4 pages, and still not address those points. It's laughable. Blah blah. When you are no longer interested in the topic, what a load of nonsense. Just look at the Christians versus atheists on YouTube. Well, I don't really spend time looking at that stuff. When do they stop responding to each other's points? I don't know. Both camps have some strong convictions and they are willing to put the time and effort to fight it out. Right, and show me what comes out of it. Show me how that's productive. Show me how that prevents suffering. Huh? 1244. You say that the facts of life show that the criticisms of ethalism are just not good enough. Anti-ethalists would respond that the facts of life don't support the ethalist conclusions. So what now? What else if not engage in the conversation? No, the facts of life do support the ethalist conclusions. People's psychology does not, right? And take me back 5 years, right? Or not even that. I wouldn't have done so, right? 5 years ago, I was entertaining these new age spiritual ideas because this is what I was brought up in, right? Not in any strict manner or anything, but just that was kind of my environment. So I was agnostic, and through people starting the conversation, right, and dreaming about doomsday devices and not doing anything to prevent suffering, now, like, I'm not like that anymore. So right, so you can do your thing then, right? If you think the facts of life don't support the ethalist conclusions, then go and do something else, right? So what now? What else if not engage in the conversation? Why? I can engage in the conversation with other people. Right, so that is the first comment done. And half an hour, I think that'll do.